What are you doing, Mom?
Well, we sprouted some seeds. I got our heirloom cukes here. If I remember right, this is an English serpentine cuke, and they've sprouted really well. When did we do this, Morgan? 5 days ago?
4 or 5 days ago.
4 or 5 days ago. So, I'm gonna go in with these into like a medium pot and pre-moistened Miracle Grow potting soil, which I've always had really good luck with. You don't want to fertilize early. These are very tender and young. You want to give them good room to grow, and they don't transplant often very well. So we're just going to move them one time into a medium-sized pot. Half these while I work to get my pots ready. I think I'm seeing 4 or 5 there that look really healthy, so we're going to start with that. And initially, I'm not going to fill the pot with the dirt. I'm only going to go about halfway, because that way, if it starts to get spindly around the stem as it grows before you're ready to transplant, you can add more dirt. I've pre-moistened this soil. You don't want to go in with bone dry, because then you've got some delicate sprouts, and you're going to be watering from possibly your faucet or your hose, and that's going to do some damage and set your sprouts kind of behind if they recover from something like that at all. So delicate. Because if I try to remove some of these from the paper towel and they really don't want to let go, I'll let the paper towel be and separate it just by cutting it with some scissors. These actually seem really hardy. This is a really nice sprout right here. So see how it's caught still in the paper towel? I'm not going to force that. That paper towel is not going to hurt it. I never use a dyed paper towel. These are only just strictly white paper towels. Get some good space.
You can't quite see. Next when you lift out, give us a close-up of what it looked like in the paper towel. Nice.
Just hug that stem.
And how many seedlings would you start in each small pot like that?
1.
Why wouldn't you want to put more overcrowding and you won't get good?
You'll get less yield if you crowd your plants together anyway. And then you'd be working to separate the roots after the fact. So it's just better to set one up in these pots like this rather than doing multiple transplants. Every time you fiddle with your plant, you harm it.
No fiddling with the seeds, eh?
No fiddling.
And then I know different plants are different as well, but I don't really remember from our harvest last year. Well, I guess I remember the cucumbers were more or less on vines, and you can get multiple cucumbers from one plant.
Yes.
Is that correct? Just like one little tomato sprout like that can give you a plethora of cherry tomatoes.
Yeah, a cucumber is going to yield, depending on how well it does, how well it pollinates. It does like to climb. So if you lean it on a fence or somewhere, it will climb up rather than spread out against the ground, and your cucumbers will actually do better than laying against the ground. They don't ripen as well. And then of course you can always have like worms or other things get at them more readily if they're on the ground.
Much like beans and legumes and peas.
Yeah, they like to climb. Tomatoes too are actually a vine, and you can let them climb. That's why they're always best when you cage them.
You would say the same thing about a squash, but they tend to be better on the ground because they're heavier fruits probably, right?
Yeah, and they really don't like to be transplanted. I always try, because when they come up early, animals will get them. They really like them. So you tend to lose a lot of squash that pop up just to even
bunnies.
Birds. Yeah, bunnies. Even we're fenced, and I don't really worry about the bunnies, but even birds will come and pull those out. And squirrels and chipmunks, it's hard to keep them out.
All the vermin.
Yeah. So this is an Ederine purple striped eggplant. It's a Baker Creek heirloom seed. Morgan actually picked this out. We did really well with eggplants last year, but they came in late. It's a tiny seed. They sprouted out pretty well. I did kind of toss a handful. They're very tiny. I probably had 20 seeds in here. I had a good yield come out. I'm going to try to come in with them.
You can see them.
Very tiny seed. So very gingerly with this. I almost want to go get a tweezers. I really don't want to be touching that root a whole lot. And here again, I have a little entanglement in the paper towel. So rather than pull at that sprout, I'm just going to gingerly take the whole paper towel with it.
Do you think for little tiny ones like this, it might be better to just start in the dirt?
This one said start indoors. Because it is a slow starter, I think the indoor start in our climate is going to get them enough time to yield before our frost hits. I think this is a 90-day plant, if I'm not mistaken. And there's some of the problems with, a New York growing season. If we're really wet or we start late and it doesn't heat up early, then things don't take off fast enough. You want to plant these, I think I actually put that one a little deep, kind of shallow, so they don't have to work too hard to get that first bust through the surface.
Yeah, like generally you usually want like half a finger, like a quarter inch.
A quarter inch of soil, loose soil on top.
But with some of these baby ones, you really just cover it with the dirt just a little, right?
Just a little bit. But
like the cherry
say that
tomatoes.
That's a quarter inch.
Yeah.
It's a quarter inch of dirt.
What do you think would happen if you cut up the paper towel and put the paper towel
Nothing.
not folded, like put the paper towel in on top and then cover it with dirt?
If you spread out paper towel, like a sheet of it, and space your seeds out along it, now it's probably wasteful on paper towel, like half sheets even, or strips of it, you probably could sprout on that and lay it, just tear it and put that whole
In
thing
the
right
dirt,
in.
right?
I don't think it would matter. I guess I was just being a little bit more conservative and kind of just clustering and making sure it kept wet so that they would sprout. I don't know if we said that before, but you always wet your paper towels when you're placing them in these Ziplocs. I actually have last year's Ziploc baggies over here. If I'd thought about it earlier, I would have just reused them. I forgot I kept them. So going forward, I won't throw this year's away either. You just replace your stickers so you know what you put in there. Yeah.
All right, which one are you doing now?
The peppers. So I've got 2 peppers going here. We did a brown jalapeno and a Serrano Tempequino.
Tempranillo?
Tempranillo?
Temperquino?
Temperquino? Something
No
like
say.
that. But these are also Baker Creek heirloom seeds, so organic, etc. And we had a pretty good yield. They didn't give me many of these brown jalapeno seeds, so I was conservative with what I even tried to sprout. And it looks like I got about 6 out of 10. The Serranos did a little bit better, and they were a little more plentiful in the package, so I kind of went for it. We would really like a good pepper yield this year. The jalapenos will do really well, and it's a large pepper, so if you have 6 strong plants, that would be great. So we're going to go with 6 of those. And on the Serranos, I'm going to try to get 12 out of this. It's a smaller pepper, a long thin pepper, 8 to 12 weeks. We have to start indoors before they go out. They're going to yield late. Peppers always do. So even though they sprout pretty quickly, it's going to take a while for them to have any good size to go outside. We may do another transplant on this round because, again, we really want good pepper yield this year.
Yeah, will be our 3rd year of gardening together since I've been home, and peppers each year I get super excited about. Love spiciness, love peppers, lots of different cuisines, lots of different applications and stuff like that. But it was just late. Each year it was like, you know, we were taking them in, they were still like just fruiting when we were like worried about frost. So we're trying to get those in first this year for sure, to get them an early start and get them going.
For 3 different kinds of cherry tomatoes. We decided to go just with cherry tomatoes this year because big tomato plants take up a lot of room. They start to yield really quickly when they go. They're big, and if you don't get to them right away, you're kind of playing catch up the whole time. The grape tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes tend to have a firmer skin and really do last longer and give you a chance to kind of catch up with the harvest and do different jams and projects and salsas and whatever with them. This year we decided on 3 different kinds. This is actually a new one for us this year. It just looked really cool. These are Brad's Atomic Grape Tomato. And once again, this is a Baker heirloom seed, Baker Creek heirloom seeds. These cherry tomatoes and these other cherry tomatoes, these are called Dancing with Smurfs. We had a fantastic yield with these last year, and they're beautiful. These didn't do so well for us last year. We had a few more seeds, so we're gonna bring them again. And again, these are packages of seeds from last year. Don't ever believe that you can only use seeds for 1 year. That's not true. You can always try to sprout them. If they sprout, they'll go. So we're gonna see if we do better with these honey drops this year. I really don't want too many of these. These sprouted great. I'm gonna go in with these flats of 9 each. I'll probably end up giving some of these away because I definitely don't want 20 some tomato plants here, 21 tomato plants. So I'm gonna get to planting.
So let me ask you, obviously it looks like they jumped off really good with the seedlings for the tomatoes, but with the other ones like the peppers where some didn't really sprout, would you still put that in a dirt and hope for it to do its thing, or you would just discard it?
You could. I actually, with the brown jalapenos that didn't sprout, I'm gonna put them back in the plastic bag and give them a couple more days. I'd really like a couple more of those plants, so I'm gonna see if I can't make that happen. You really wanna bury your tomato plants. If you've got a sprout like this, put the whole stem in there. Just leave a little bit of leaf showing, because otherwise they're gonna come up really spindly, and you wanna leave room to add dirt to this as it gets taller.
Then obviously with the sprouts of the tomato, you can really see it, like the seedlings on the bottom, the green sprout is on the top. You want to try to aim for the seed part in the bottom, correct? Or if you lay them sideways, not really a big deal.
What you can see has happened is sometimes because it's stuck to the paper, it will leave the seed behind sooner rather than later. Don't mind my dirty fingernail. But you can see on this one how it left the seed behind and the sprout came up. So it's the seed here
Go a little closer
that you're actually gonna
to the right.
put in the ground.
Wish I could focus on that better for you, but there you go. Next phase in the plant life's growth cycle, after you've sowed and sprouted your seeds and put them into a little bit of potting soil, is to put them into a sunny windowsill or something like that, get them a little bit of sunlight. We were able to find this awesome greenhouse tent this year. It's awesome because it holds in that moisture, keeps the temperature good, keeps them nice and warm, and then once they start to sprout off, we'll be able to just slide the whole thing outside. Obviously heavy enough it doesn't blow away, but again, a little protection once we start to phase into the outside. Here I'm showing you these awesome Nearby Naturals mushroom growing kits. Basically like a chia pet, just add water, let it do its thing. I'm growing lion's mane mushroom and blue oyster mushrooms in the living room. Amazing! Oh my god, you guys, it's happening! Little baby mushrooms! Little baby lion's mane, I'm so excited! Look at that mycelium beauty. You guys, it's happening. I'm getting mushrooms, little baby lion's mane mushrooms. I'm so excited. It's happening. Tune into our next video to learn how to sow seeds directly into the ground as cold starters. Thanks so much for watching.